Hi, welcome to the next final chapter vlog. This is the series where I want to continue all the series that I started over the last probably 15 years, and I want to finish them or DNF if I don't like them anymore. And I left the December episode of the series with 30 series that I want to continue. And I'm starting this new episode now with 30 series way ahead because you see this video mid-January or end of January, and I'm starting this vlog on December 3rd. My personal goal I set at the beginning of 2025 was to get the number of series down to 25. I probably won't reach this goal. We will see at the end of this vlog if I can go there. But I want to start with the first update here because I am halfway through Zodiac Academy 8 and 8.5. Finally, it took me a long time to get to this point. I think I started the books in September, or was it August? I'm not sure, but I'm now halfway through the books. I read a lot of it yesterday. I haven't even touched this books in November because there wasn't time for it and I wasn't in the right headspace to read Zodiac Academy. But I am now, and I got back into the story quite fast. These books are now super sad after everything what happened at the end of book 7. But my hopes are high that we can get a solution for this problem, that we can unite our characters again, please, in book 9, and that after these two books our characters have suffered enough. Please let the characters here have happy ends. I'm a bit scared to read the rest of the series because I don't see at this point how a happy end for a certain couple can be possible. But maybe the authors can find a way to make it possible. They did that before in the series. So I have my hopes up, and I will probably suffer more in the second half of these books. We have our main story here in Sorrow and Starlight. This is book 8. So these are our main characters, and this is what's happening in Solaria. And then we have the companion novella, book 8.5. I'm doing the tandem read here and change between the books every few chapters. So here we are, like the title says, Beyond the Veil. We have a lot of new POVs, new insights, but I'm really happy that I'm doing the tandem read here and don't need to read this book before I can continue the story with book 9 then. So this was definitely the right decision, even if this book is interesting. I don't know how much influence these characters can have for the main plot. They have influence here and there, but most of that we already see in Sorrow and Starlight. We have just a different view of what's happening in this book. So I am happy now to continue these two books and will update you after I finish the books. It is only 1 week later, and I can tell you that I finished Sorrow and Starlight, and I also finished Beyond the Veil. So I finally finished my tandem read of these two books. I was in the right headspace now. I had time to read, or I took time to read these two books because I needed this time to really get into the story, to enjoy it, and not read one or two chapters here and there. So I read most of this in the last 3 days and finished yesterday a little bit after midnight. So technically today, and I can say now I really liked book 8 and 8.5 of the Zodiac Academy series. It was a bit calmer than the book before, which was a good thing because I needed this time to process what happened, to heal a little bit, and the characters obviously also needed this time. And if I forget about the last chapter I've read in this tandem read, I am really, really happy with the end of these stories. The last chapter, or more, the last chapters already tease the last book in the series. But before I read book 9 of the Zodiac Academy series, the final book in the series, I will read Live and Let Lionel. So, a lot of short stories and novellas that are introduced by Lionel. Let's hope he's not the main character in all of them, because I really hate him. He is one of my most hated characters ever. Him and Lavinia. They definitely make my top 10 and probably also my top 5, together with two characters from Game of Thrones and one character from Harry Potter. And no, it's not Voldemort. I will take a break now from Zodiac Academy and maybe continue later in this vlog. I'm not sure about that, but definitely in the next vlog in the series. It is now December 11th, so still 5 series that I need to finish to reach my goal. To get the numbers of series, I need to continue down to 25, and I should work on that now. Zodiac Academy wouldn't count if I would finish book 9, because there is more in this universe and I put the universe on my list. So even if I would read Live and Let Lionel and Restless Stars now, there still would be 4 books of the Darkmoor Penitentiary series and 2 books, I think, of the Sins of the Zodiac series. I don't think book 3 is out yet, but you can pre-order it. I think it will be published in spring 2026. And maybe I can get on track with the universe until then, we will see. But for now, I will read some of my new releases now and will continue with A Castle So Cruel. So I see you with the next update. Look at these beautiful sprayed edges. I really, really love them together. And the second book with Elaine here arrived right on time to give you my halftime update for A Castle So Cruel. I started with the ebook because I had to wait for my printed copy, and I'm really, really happy that it is here yet. We also had a card with an illustration. Let me show you that. This is Noe, the male main character, and our focus point in book 2. And I am really happy with the book so far. You can be proud of yourself, Lisa, if you see this. It feels a bit darker than book 1, but all in all, it has the same dark romantasy vibe as the first book in this duology, and I'm really, really happy with it. And can't wait to read the second half of A Castle So Cruel. I don't know if I said it in this video, probably not. This is a German dark romantasy duology written by a German author. Lisa Yasmina is a friend of mine, and I worked with her a lot on A Forest So Dark, the first book in this duology. Proofread it before the publisher got it, and we discussed a lot of the story, changed things so it would work better for the plot and the characters. And I really had a great time working with her on this story. We also discussed a lot of the plot of book 2, but I haven't read it until now when it got published. And even if I discipline myself to only read 2 or 3 chapters a day because I don't want to rush through it, I'm really flying through these pages and can't wait to see how Lisa solved everything. But I believe in a happy end here for Noé and Elaine, and can't wait to see how they solve their problems, how they win against the gods, and how they can rescue Noé after everything what happened at the end of book 1. I'm staying vague here because I don't want to spoil anything, but I can't wait to continue, and I will talk to you after I finished the book. It is December 21st, and I finished my next read for this vlog. I finished A Castle So Cruel and finished this duology with that. So I am down now to 29 series that I want to continue and finish. And now there are only 10 days left for the year. So I think at this point we can agree that I won't finish my challenge to get this number down to 25 by the end of the year. Because no way over Christmas and the New Year that I will finish 4 more series. That is completely unrealistic, but I am okay with failing this challenge. I always set my goals really, really high. I started a lot of new series this year. This was one of them. And I still will be working on this list in the next year. So, really, there is no pressure. And I'm really, really okay with not reaching my goal. So, now that I have said this, let's talk a little bit about A Castle So Cruel. I really enjoyed this book. It is a solid 4-star read for me. The only thing that was a little bit lacking for me was the depth of the side characters. But this is a problem that I have myself when I'm writing, that it is super, super hard to write realistic side characters with depth. But I really, really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the characters Elaine and Noé. So, the main characters, I enjoyed their character development. The plot was really, really good. And also, the writing is really, really good. So, Lisa, you did a great job here with this book. The end was fitting for the story. There were no real surprises for me with the plot twists, just because I've discussed the whole plot before with Lisa when she started writing A Castle So Cruel. But it made me really happy to see all of what we discussed now in this book. And I am so glad and so happy that I could work with Lisa on the story. It is a great honor that she trusted me like this. And I am really proud of her now that I have these books on my shelf and that I can see the result of everything after I've read the story now. So I really had a great time with A Forest So Dark and A Castle So Cruel. And I will go on now to the next book for this vlog, which will probably be The Strength of the Few by James Arlington. So I will see you in a bit. This is not the update for the strength of the few. This is my update for Sinner by Sierra Simone, the second book in the Priest series. And this is not 2025 anymore. Welcome to 2026. Today is the 4th of January. And as you saw, I'm still working on my update for the strengths of the few, but I am halfway through Sinner. And this is a forbidden spicy romance. He is 36, she is 21, and she wants to be a nun. She has 1 month left for normal life before she's reaching the first stage of being a nun. I forgot what it's called. And let's not forget, she is the little sister of his best friend. So, a lot of forbidden romance tropes with the age gap, with the best friend, and with the nun topic. Especially in the last one, because he's really struggling with religion after his little sister was abused by someone from church and she committed suicide when she was 17. So he no longer believes in God, which leads to Zenny, our female main character, deciding that he's the perfect opportunity to enjoy life and make new experience for one last time before she commits to church. So we get a lot of spice in this romance and a lot of doubts, a lot of talks about religion and beliefs, and I'm liking it so far. You probably shouldn't read this if you are super religious or not into spice, but I knew what was coming because I've read Priest before and I am really liking the characters so far, their struggles in life and their character development that they will have in the story. I can't wait to see how this ends. I mean, it is clear we will have a happy end here in some sort. But I like to see how we get there, especially with Zenny wanting to become a nun, because that means she is forbidden to have sex and a relationship. And I'm already curious about one of the other brothers. I think it's Adrian. You know, I'm not good with names. But he also has some secrets and is acting strange. I have an idea what this is about, and hopefully, he is Saint, the third book in the series. So I can read his story next. I haven't read the synopsis yet, and I won't read it. But I will start Saint after I finished Sinner. So let's continue reading, and I will talk to you after I finished the book. It's not fair that I cried that much reading a taboo spicy romance. I haven't expected that. But with the topic that Sean's mother had cancer in the end stadium, it was expected to be sad in the end, and it got me. I cried a lot during these scenes. And I think it traumatized each and every one of these characters again to lose their mother. So I'm interested to see how the other brothers handle that in the other books of the series. But let's talk about Sean and Zenny, the main characters of Sinner. I don't know if I said that before, but I read Priest a few years ago and I couldn't remember much. So my expectations for book two were taboo spicy romance with a lot of spice, not much plot, and I was surprised. that there were a lot of deep conversations about beliefs, about religion, about God, about heavy topics like cancer, how you handle trauma, and even loss. So I really, really liked these parts of the story. And I also was very happy about how the relationship between Zenny and Sean ended. I think all the religious topics are handled really, really well. I know it is difficult to read these spicy romances with taboo topics for religious people. And if you are super religious, this series is not for you. But for me, I'm not that religious, and I think these topics are really well explained. So, why these people believe in God, why they want to do what they want to do, like being a nun, being a priest, and why they trust in their beliefs. And also, the other side of this topic is handled really well. So, people that don't believe, that don't understand why people believe that much in God, and we have very deep discussions here about this topic. And I learn a lot here, not only about religion itself, but especially about Catholic religion. So, the whole process of becoming a nun, I didn't know anything about it and thought it was very interesting to have it all explained here. So I really liked that part of the story, but I also liked these spicy scenes of the book. There were a lot. It is a spicy romance. And I think these scenes are written really, really well, even if they break taboos. And I also really like how the relationships develop over time, over the whole story. So for me, this was a good book, and I can't wait to read book 3 now. It is the couple I expected after the hints now in book 2. So I'm very intrigued to read the next story, and I will talk to you when I'm halfway through Saint. I am halfway through Saint now, and that means I am now half a book away from finishing another series, which is exciting. And I'm liking this book as much as book 2 and book 1. As the other books, this is taboo spicy romance focused on religious topics. And this is set 5 years after book 2. Aidan became a monk in this time, so he lives in an abbey now. He left his partner Elijah and left everything else behind, his money, his property, because he was super desperate. He was super, super down, had extreme mental health problems, but nobody knew about it. And this was his one and only escape to become a monk. And 5 years later, he is still okay with his decision. He does better mentally. But then Elijah visits him, his ex boyfriend, in the abbey and tells him that he is about to getting married. And Aiden's heart, or more brother Patrick now, breaks again, shatters completely because he still loves Elijah. And Elijah is also struggling with everything that happened 5 years ago. He is still not over it, even if he's now engaged and about to be married. He still doesn't know the real reason why Aiden left him, which leads to him coming back to the Abbey because he wants to write an article for the magazine he's working for about the Abbey and about the brewery they have. So we have forced proximity here, we have forbidden romance. because, as I said, it is spicy romance, so we have spicy scenes in the story. And as always, they are really well written. At some point of the story, I thought this could become a throuple situation with Aiden and Elijah and Elijah's fiance, but that it's not where it's all leading to. And I am still in the middle of drama and emotions and struggle with religion and the way for the future. So I can't wait to continue. I would have continued yesterday in the evening, but I wanted to update you first and then I can continue. So I will go reading now and I will talk to you after I finished the book. I finished Saint now, so I'm now up to date with this series. I have to say up to date because I thought in 2025 that I would be finished with the series when I finished book 3. But Sierra Simone will be releasing 2 more titles of the series now in 2026. Let me check the dates on my phone. I made a note for that. And book 4, Midnight Mass, will be released on March 24th. And the probably final book 5, Devil, will be released on August 5. So, just that you are aware of it, I will continue the series over the year, but for now, that's it. Which means I got my series list down to 28 now, which is exciting. But let's talk a little bit more about the book itself. I already told you before that this is a spicy taboo romance, and I think it is my least favorite of the series so far. Not because it is queer. Let me underline that because I like to read queer romances. I have no problem with that at all. But I think the whole darker side and heavier side of the story, so dealing with depression and suicide thoughts, was kept pretty vague throughout most of the story because Adrian opens up really, really late in the story and tells what really happened the night he decided to become a monk. And I understand that this is a difficult topic, that he has problems talking about it, but he also is really, really vague about it when he thinks about the topic. And after years and years of therapy, I wished he would have been more open, at least with himself. But I really liked the relationship between him and Elijah and the development throughout the story. I know there is a big problem with trust and really letting themselves fall into this relationship because of their backstory and because of the reasons why Adrian became a monk. But I think the solution was done pretty well, and I'm super intrigued to read the next book in the series. At least I think it is the next book. I haven't read the synopsis of book 4 and 5, but I know that Father Patrick, as always, I'm not good with names here. But if you've read the series, you know who I'm talking about. The priest that married the couple from book 2. I was already intrigued with him when we met him in France, and we got more explanation and hints to his story after that. So I can't wait to read more here. And as I said, I will continue this year when the new books will be released. But for now, that's it. 28 series to go. So let's read the next one. Finally, I am halfway through The Strength of the Few. It took me a long time, but I'm very, very happy with my progress here. You can see a little bit over halfway through so far, and I haven't continued to read this book the last 2 days because I needed to film this update first, or wanted to film it, to tell you that I'm really liking this book so far. We have three parallel storylines now, so we are switching between them very often, but it doesn't take me long to recognize in which storyline we are when a new chapter begins. So James Islington does a really good job here, and I am interested in all three storylines, which is also very good. I can't wait to see if all three storylines are united in the end of book two or not. This will be the end goal for one big plot line, and I hope they can do it, even if they don't know how at this point, and I don't know how either. There are a lot of things that go over my head, which is okay. I'm just going with the flow here and don't try to understand everything in detail with the world building and the magic system. But I'm liking the character developments. I don't trust anyone here, and the only thing I have so far that I'm really criticizing is how women are treated in this book. Not in general, but I think all the female characters are super flat. The relationships to the female characters are super flat and not believable at all to me. And one of the friends I'm reading this book with explained to me that all the titles the characters have are Latin. I knew that. But normally, for women, you use the female form of this title, and for men, you use the male form. I wish they would do this here because even for women, they use the male form. That was the part I didn't know about because I haven't had Latin in school. I had French. And it makes me a bit angry that James Islington does that because that has an undertone of misogyny to me, and that's not cool. So I really hope some of the female characters we have now in book two get more depth in the second half of the book, and that also the relationships become more believable. I will tell you if my hopes are fulfilled or not in my next update after I finish the book. So I can go reading now. It is January 19th, so it took me long enough, but I finished now The Strength of the Few, and I'm really, really liking this story and this journey throughout now three worlds, not only one. I don't want to tell you too much about the plot because it is book two in a series. But I can say I'm very intrigued to read more from the Hierarchy series. The title of book three was revealed a few days ago. It will be called The Justice of One and will probably be released in 2027. So I have to wait at least a year to read book three, which annoys me just a teeny tiny bit after these cliffhangers in the end of book two. But I can live with that. I'm just excited and want to read more. I already told you before that I had some problems with the flat female characters that didn't change in the second half of the book. And I also struggled a bit with explanations and descriptions here because we had some time jumps between chapters, and sometimes it felt like we've missed something of the story because it wasn't explained that well what happened in this time and it felt relevant to the story. And I also liked that, especially in Lyceum, this was super passive. And also in Res, when I think about it, he didn't do much there. Most of the things happened to him, and he just had to react, not act, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I like some initiative. I like more active plots where the main character is the one acting and the others have to react. And I also think that some of the characters were a bit irrelevant to the plot and were just there for the shock moment and to get some emotions from the reader. But the characters weren't necessary for the plot or for character development. But all in all, I'm very happy that I've read this book now, that I'm on track with another series, which means we get the number down to 27 now. And I'm very happy that I could read this as a buddy read with three of my buddy read girls. So thanks to you, Rebecca, Julia, and Michelle, that I could discuss this book with you, that I could read your comments, even if I was a little bit late with this buddy read. But I enjoyed it nonetheless and can't wait to read more books with you, which I will do now with probably the last book of this vlog. Next book, next update. I am halfway through Brimstone now, the second book in the Fae and Alchemy series, and the newest book of the series. I know a lot of people are disappointed by book two. That's the overall opinion I got from social media, but I am liking it so far. I don't know if it is because I'm only reading 3 chapters per day or if I just have a different view on the story. But I'm liking that we have a few new developments now in book two for the plot lines, that we have new experiences, new challenges, that especially Ceres and Kingfisher have to manage. Ceres needs to find in her new position now, in her new life, after everything that happened in the end of book one. I don't want to spoil it here, but it also brings a lot of new characters to the story, which is interesting. And I'm still really liking Carrion and his vibe. He always makes me smile when he appears because he is much more lighthearted than the other characters like Kingfisher. He is really broody and grumpy, which is okay. But it also makes me appreciate the moments when he jokes. So it is a great mix of characters. When we have spicy scenes, they are really well done, and I'm really interested to see how the story will progress because I don't know how they will find a solution to the rot, how they will save the world, and how this all will end. So there are a lot of open questions at this point, which is okay. I'm only halfway through the book. So I will continue reading now and I will talk to you after I finished the book. And I finished Brimstone now and can say I liked the first half of the book. but it lost me somewhere in the second half, and I started to criticize more of the characters and the plot. I can't really explain why, but a lot of things felt very plot heavy and not very natural to the plot. So things just happened for the sake of the plot. Characters just appeared for the sake of the plot, and if they were not necessary for the plot, they just vanished and were not mentioned at all. Best examples for this are Hazrex and Evelyn, and I was really, really annoyed by this. The romance part of this plot was okay to me. The spicy scenes were well written as always. But except the spicy scene, we haven't had much relationship time between Kingfisher and Ceres. So, not much development of this relationship. But I really liked that we got new characters here, and I liked their part of the story. And I'm also intrigued by the end of book 2. Of course, we also had a cliffhanger here. And what do you mean in the end with the last sentences? I mean, how? Why? I have so many questions and I need the answers. Hopefully, we will get them this year. I know there will be a book 3 of the Fae and Alchemy series, and I think it will be released in fall 2026, but I could be wrong with it. I don't know a title yet. I don't know anything about book 3. Just that I'm excited to continue the series, despite that I'm a little bit disappointed of book 2. I want to continue this, but for now I am on track now with the Fae and Alchemy series, which means we end this video with 26 series that I want to continue and finish, and that I can continue in the moment, because every series that will have new releases in the future is off the list for now and will get back on the list when the new release is out. That's how it works for me. But you can also see now I haven't reached my goal for this video to end this video with 25 series. I had to get the last book now that was planned that I've read this for the series. It was the newest book of the Boys of Tommen series, releasing 10. And I started this book at the start of January and have read a bit over a third of the book so far, and can say I will take my time with this book. It is super, super heavy, super devastating, and I predict a 5-star read here that I will not recommend reading because it is so heavy. And just to tease you, a little life heavy. I can't read much of this book in one sitting. I constantly need to take breaks because it is so awful what happens to Lizzie. I'm sitting here with cold and shaking hands when I read this book, and when I read too much or end with a difficult situation or bad situation, I have to think so much about it that I have trouble sleeping. So there are limited times where I can read this book because I have to work, so I can't read this Sunday to Thursday. And I also have some things planned on the weekends, but hopefully I can finish this book for the next final chapter vlog. We'll see about that. But for now, that's it. 7 books read for this vlog. These are the 4 physical books and 3 ebooks adding to that. So I did a lot here with these books, and I'm very happy with the result, even if I don't reach my goal to go down to 25 series. I'm okay with that. Please tell me in the comments what you think of the books that were mentioned in this vlog. Like this video if you wanna, follow my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye!